Salutations everyone, this is Racer, bringing you guys COD 4 gameplay. Going to be talking to you guys about the gamers and what they want. It's an odd relationship between the gamer and the game developer. And for now I'm going to talk about first-person shooters because that is, let's face it, it's a popular genre. Around half of all the games talked about at E3 this year were first-person shooters. And people always complain about like how many first-person shooters there are, and that they're sick and tired of them. But they sell. That's why there's so many of them. They're incredibly popular. Take a look at the Call of Duty franchise, Battlefield, Halo, and then you got the new IPs like Titanfall or Destiny coming out, and all the myriads of others that come out year after year. Some do well, some don't do so well. Take a look at Homefront. For some reason, that's getting a sequel, but not going to be talking about that. Anyways, it's a very, very popular genre, so it's very important to, I think, talk about what the gamers want from these games and what the game makers are giving us. Because being such a broad, popular genre, when the population of something gets larger and larger, the kind of dumber it becomes because it's less specialized. It's more representative of the actual population, which, if there's so many people, so much data, you get an average, and that just becomes average. It's no longer exceptional when, more and more people come into the fray of that metadata. But anyways, because of that, you get a lot of mixed messages, you get a lot of angry people, you get a lot of gamers saying that they want things that they don't really want. And I've mentioned this before, like when the new consoles came out, people were saying, we want this and this and this. And like that's not really important to the gamers, otherwise the data would reflect that. And when it comes to first-person shooters, the reason I'm using COD 4 is because a lot of people harken back to the COD 4 days, as this is how the first-person shooter should be. And COD 4, well, the Call of Duty franchise, not COD 4 specifically, although it was the first ginormous one to really put it at the forefront of, sales and the gamer vernacular and increasing the population throughout each COD iteration. COD 4 is kind of the godfather of the Call of Duty franchise, even though, COD 1 was pretty revolutionary in its control scheme, and COD 2, very popular online, but no one played COD 3, and COD 4 is kind of really the last big step that the Call of Duty franchise had. Ever since then, we've gotten just more customization and more variety, and also a lot more mistakes, because when it comes to the first-person shooter genre, a lot of people are very vocal about what they want. And I'm not here to talk about what I want specifically, but a lot of gamers say that they want things simplistic, like here in COD 4. And I think a lot of gamers got that with Titanfall. A lot of people were super excited because, Respawn Entertainment, they're the two guys, well, technically one guy, who worked on, COD 4. And Modern Warfare 2, so now we can get back to those type of games, which is what we really liked in the first place. And right now, who's really playing Titanfall? Not really anybody. And when I say not really anybody, a couple thousand people, but still, it really didn't live up to the hype, and it crashed rather quickly. But people were saying that this is what they wanted, and yet they're not playing it. And with each, the past 3 or so Call of Duties, they've made a lot of mistakes, and you got, Battlefield, outside of the issues that they had that really didn't have much to do with the gameplay and mechanics. You got Battlefield Hardline coming out, which is very, very similar to Battlefield 4, runs on the same engine, and a lot of people think that it looks like it should have been DLC. It looks like an expansion, because it's run on the same engine, it looks the same, it feels the same. It's just different game modes, and it has its own campaign from what I hear, so a lot of people don't feel like it justifies being a full retail game or being a standalone game on its own, that they could have done it as like a DLC to Battlefield 4. But really, when it comes to the first-person shooters, it's multiplayer based. That's where the first-person shooters' bread and butter is. That's where they make their money. The most popular multiplayer games are the ones that sell the most because of that replay value. And that comes down to, the maps, the game modes, the weapons, and as well as, revitalizing that with DLC month after month. So when it comes to Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, there's a lot of different types of gameplay that are offered. And a lot of people seem to stick to one thing and say that that's what's best for the first-person shooter genre. They say they want this and this and this and this, which, like I've said before, isn't what they really want. People really don't want COD 4 game to come back. It was fun. You can be nostalgic for it. I've come back and played it many times. That's why you're seeing this gameplay right now. I didn't even play COD 4 back in its prime, but I still think it has a lot of fun to offer. But if this was a new game, I'd be quite upset because it takes a lot of steps back. It wouldn't be the worst Call of Duty or first-person shooter in the past few years, but I think the genre and that franchise deserves better. And the same thing for Battlefield or Halo or Killzone or whatever first-person shooter you like. The community really dictates what should be in the game for the most part. A lot of people can agree on some pretty basic things that some of the not so popular iterations of that franchise have had. Like, we can all say that we don't like the target finder or the heartbeat sensor or one-man army noob tubes or certain things in your Halos or your Battlefields and such. There's some things that we don't like. We don't like slow, drawn-out gameplay. We don't like being bored. We like high-paced action, but we don't like getting spawn trapped. We don't like being in an unfair, unwinnable situation. So there are pretty, stable ground rules that we can all agree on. But outside of that, everyone has their own opinion on what the game should bring to the table. And I think it's fine for things to be different. I can like Call of Duty and Battlefield. They're very, very different games. They're handled differently. Battlefield is much bigger, giant maps, 64-player servers. You got vehicles. Call of Duty is small, high action, high paced perks and reloads and weapon swaps and kill streaks. Very, very different. Halo with their shields. It's much slower to kill somebody. But, it also gives a different type of gameplay. So, they don't all have to be the same. And I think every franchise and every iteration of that franchise can bring us something new. Personally, I'm not interested in Battlefield Hardline as it stands right now. But, if it was, super cheap, I definitely would see the value in it. If all I did was play Battlefield day in and day out, then... And if you're one of those people, you can definitely justify getting Battlefield Hardline because that game, that franchise, first-person shooters especially, are pretty much all based on the multiplayer. And if you're getting new maps, new guns, and new game modes, then that's justifiable as its own new release, full retail game. Because in the end, you're going to get your money's worth out of it if that's something that you like and enjoy. But anyways, that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you next time.